Happy Wednesday!
Meow.
Meow. I'm a burly lumberjack.
Yes, you are.
Which is fitting because we took down like 100-year-old tree in the backyard this week.
Oh boy. Yeah. I know all about trees, that's for sure.
It's still out there. Let me show you this picture real quick before we get into it. I'll share it if you can see it on my phone. Look at that.
Oh boy. You took that down with your bare hands, right?
Well, I just gave it a good run like Tommy Boy, right?
Right.
You get it
Little
right
shoulder.
between the shoulder and the hock.
Yeah, for sure. That would do it. Yo, YouTube. Welcome back to a very strange edition of Live with Charlie and a whole bunch of goats. We got goats everywhere now. So,
where are the goats? Oh, there they are.
Yeah, a couple of them. We are celebrating some early Halloween, so we thought we'd start the show with some masks. We will not wear these the whole time because despite our deceivingly bad looks, they're better than what these masks are. So we're gonna go with that. So I'm taking this off. Plus, it's making my glasses fog up.
Woo. It's actually
wear it on my head. There we go. How about that? All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us live. We're here live every Wednesday, 8 Central Standard Time. If you're watching this recorded, try to catch us live so you can be a part of the show. This show is all about the chat and the interaction. So that's why we're here. Tonight, we want to talk a little bit about advertising and how to sort of separate yourself. This kind of came up from a discussion on Discord, as most of our shows do these days. So if you're not on the Discord, jump on the Discord. Where's our trailer? I had it on there.
Oh, I got it.
I got it. I put it on.
All right.
So anyway, you see the Discord running along the bottom there, the URL. So jump on that, join. It's free. Lots of great conversation on there. But one of the hot topics has been promotions, right? In fact, we even talked about this a little bit last week, as Charlie's been contemplating changing some of his promotional strategies, and we're talking eBay listings here. Him and I have both been running dynamic for a long time, but the prices are creeping up on that, on a lot of the cards. And then we just got a new announcement from eBay. I don't know. Do you have that? You can put it on the screen.
I'll look for it. I didn't have it.
Otherwise, I can pull it up. But basically, come January 26th, the promotions charges are going to change. The way it is now is if someone clicks on it and then they buy something within 30 days, clicks on the ad, and buys something from you within 30 days, the promotional fee gets added on to whatever they buy. Come January 26th, if anyone clicks on the ad and then you get a sale, it's going to charge you. So you might even potentially be getting the sale from someone who was not, involved in the promotional ad click anyway. So at some point, a lot of people feel like you got to kind of cut that off, right? So do we get rid of promotions? Do we reduce our promotion percentage? I don't know. How do we tell eBay that enough is enough and they're scraping enough as it is, and we'd like to keep some of our profits? So I don't know. This is something that has compelled me to make a change. You and I had just talked recently, and I said, nah, because usually the dynamic just slightly edges out the best offer. Excuse me. The best promotional rate that somebody has employed, and to have that little edge for that little price, to me was worth it. But to now pay it on transactions where they didn't even find your buyer is not something I really want to participate in. So I'm definitely going to be changing from dynamic and either eliminating promotions altogether and see how that goes. I know what it was like before I did any promotions and it wasn't good. So I'm thinking there's got to be something in the middle, right? Is that kind of how you feel?
Yeah, exactly. But definitely. So I already a couple weeks ago I took dynamic off of everything, and it doesn't take too long to go back to what you remember pre-promotions. You'll see a quick drop in impressions. So promotions really do what they're designed to do, right? I think the question here is the what you're paying for it. Is it providing you the uplift that gives you the value of what you're paying for it? And it does feel a little shady, if I'm being honest,
Yeah.
that hey, someone who didn't even click on the promotion is costing you that promotional fee.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, the way it is set up now, it didn't really bother me because I have a lot of my sales are not under the promotional pricing, because I have a good follower base, and people kind of find you on their own. But now, if anyone clicked on it, even if it was somebody who went directly to my URL because I bought my own URL for my store,
Mhm.
uh, I'm gonna have to pay that promotional fee, and that's just too far for me. So instead of half of my sales are not promoted payments to, like, it's probably going to go to like 78, 80, 85% or more. um I don't know, that's quite a dip in the pocketbook. So
Yeah, I think we're making some assumptions though. What I think the course that I would recommend if you're really on the fence about this is pull your numbers now, because this doesn't go into effect until January 13th. Pull your
oh, I thought it
numbers
was January
now.
26th, January 13th.
January 13th of 2026. Yep.
Oh, 2026, that's what I
Yeah.
okay.
So you've
My
got
bad, January 13th, everyone, sorry, I
you've
misspoke earlier.
got about a month and a half before it takes effect. So I think it would be prudent to, if you're not already tracking your ad spend and your uplift, get a baseline now with what you're doing, and then give the new policy the first month or two and watch it closely to see how is it affecting your numbers. Personally, I wouldn't recommend a drastic change right off the bat, because we're kind of expecting the worst, right? And maybe
Sure.
it's not. Um, and then I guess hot take from me compared to most of the other discussion I've seen is, hey, when I signed up for promotions on those items, I had kind of sunk that cost anyway. So what I mean by that is, if you put on promotions today and tomorrow someone clicks on that and buys it and you pay the promoted rate, are you upset? If it is the first one who clicks on it and they buy it, are you upset?
No.
No. So after my emotions calmed down, when I first saw it, I was kind of hot, but afterwards I was like, well, I was already committed to spending an extra nickel on that or whatever it is. So is it really that much different if someone clicks on it tomorrow, but then somebody else buys it 3 days and 3 days later and I still pay that nickel? In the end, it was still cost I was willing to spend to get that out there more. I get it. We are getting a nice little bump by an organic buyer coming along later and then not getting charged that. But ultimately, weren't didn't we sign up to spend it anyway?
I signed up
Oh, I
to
got a
s
sigh out of you. I like that.
well, because I think uh I signed up to pay the promotional fee if eBay finds me the buyer.
Right.
So when somebody clicks on it 2 days later, organically or through my URL or my own advertising or my business card or a
Mhm.
friend who said, "Buy from this guy, I buy from him,"
Yep.
I don't want eBay to get any of that money. Like, that it's more of a
Principal
yeah,
thing.
Yeah, not only that, but it is going to increase my promotional costs because, like I said, like half of my sales right now don't go to any of that. So I
And they
would have
still
to
might not.
rethink my expense. Uh, my
We're assuming that so many of what we're selling is because eBay's got it out there and someone sees it and clicks on it at some point. A lot of what I was using it on was kind of a lot of that somewhat dead inventory. And I don't
Mhm.
know that yes, I was getting clicks and views and stuff, but I don't know that it was always leading to sales because a lot of that stuff was still something that maybe it only got one click and that buyer got it. Maybe it wouldn't have gotten more to begin with, you know?
Yeah.
So I really think it would be sensible to pull those numbers now and look closely at what happens when that policy changes because it may not be as drastic as we think.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think either way, it's good to sort of mess with it a little bit and see what it
Hmm.
does.
Hmm.
You can always go back. My initial thought on it was to keep dynamic, but then cap.
Yep. That's an option.
So that's kind of where I feel like I'm currently at because I think that the dynamic sort of takes advantage of the people who sign up for the dynamic, especially like I said, if it's going to lead to other sales down the road and it's not even that buyer. What
Yeah.
about, and my other question is, what about quantity listings, right? So if you, let's say you got a listing that has 10 copies, somebody clicks on it today, doesn't buy it,
Hmm.
and then you sell 3 copies down the road to 3 different buyers. Now you're paying a promotional fee on all 3 of those buyers, even
Hmm.
if they didn't click the ad, right?
Hmm.
Because
Yep.
it's based on the item.
Yep.
So you could get kind of screwed 3 times on that one because all those look. We're just using an example, of course, but we're assuming those 3 buyers didn't click on the ad. So why should I pay eBay anything to get that sale? I don't know. Seems like a cash grab.
It does. It definitely does. Doesn't feel good.
Yeah, and I think a lot of sellers are gonna make some kind of change to it. So, like, if we all kind of back off, we would all still be on a level playing field, essentially, right?
Yeah.
That's the theory because it's based on who's pushing for more sales, um, and willing to pay, I guess, to get that. So
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, you're right. I definitely price in the fact that a promotional sale could occur.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't want to pay it on every single sale either.
Yeah. I don't think
It's
any of us do.
I'm
I don't.
yeah. I mean, I'm still assuming that I'm gonna have. I work hard to get organic sales, right? I mean, you want that. That
Yeah.
should be part of your goal if you're building a business here, is to be able to get your own sales. Um, and they kind of want to take some of that for whatever reason or whatever justification they have. And yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm willing to make a change to see if I can keep my expenses similar
Yeah.
to what it was before.
I
So I'm
mean,
not saying like take it all off by any measure, but
yeah. I think there's just still a good chance that, let's say I've got that. Oh, when did he play? 1996 Jeff Query Green Bay Packers card out there, right? And I've got a
yep,
promotion on it, but that hasn't driven anyone to click on it. But then I have a diehard Packers fan who comes to my site because they bought something from me before and just searches all the Packers. He's still going to get that organically, right? Because nobody else was really looking for that. So,
assuming his search doesn't lead him to your promoted link.
but he would be
I mean,
in my store already, is what I'm saying.
well, if he's searching your
Yeah,
store, okay, sure,
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I kind of get miffed just as much at this exclusive ad placement strategy as well, that you could do dynamic and pay what is it? What's the top, like 18%
Yeah.
to promote your listing, but you'll never get that top spot because they're reserving it for the priority campaigns.
Right. Yeah. So no matter what, you're going to be second best at best.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, and the thing is I'm getting a lot of sales now on other avenues. Collects. I just took a
Whatnot.
payout from them today. I just got a payout from Whatnot yesterday. I'm getting regular sales there, and it's like I don't promote anything in those places, and
Yeah.
um, so I kind of feel like, okay, well, if I can increase my sales or even keep my sales the same and do some on other platforms, and I can save on the promotional side, that's kind of
Yeah.
a win, right? And then building a customer base in those other two locations as well.
Yeah. I think definitely I would agree that this may be a good reason to move away from the dynamic rate promotion and take more control of your promotion.
I think I want to stay at dynamic, but I want a cap
Okay. You're still taking more
because
control of it.
yeah, because I'm probably willing to pay a little more on some competitive cards
Hmm.
for the percentage to get the sale, but I don't want to just pay more on another card that I could sell,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So the dynamic should sort of get me up to my maximum price point when necessary,
Hmm.
but keep me at a lower rate promotional wise on cards that don't need it. So
Okay.
I don't know. That's my theory anyway.
I know I
Yeah.
personally took everything off dynamic and I just set some caps on a straight promotion. Stays the same all the time.
Yeah. One thing I do like that does have some transparency to it is when I get an offer from a customer, it does tell me what the percentage would be
Yeah.
I would be paying. So
Yep.
I do look at that on every offer that I get, and I go, well, if I'm paying 20% promotional rate or 16% promotional rate on this thing, no, I'm not giving you a deal on the card then, or less of a deal on the card. If
But
it's a
also
higher,
look at how long you've had it listed, right? Oh, I've had this card for 2 years.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, I'm not saying it's the only
yeah,
thing I look at. I also look
yeah,
at, did they make offers on other cards? Is it a good customer? Like, yeah, I look at all that too. But I'm saying just straight, you know, $3 card, right? Nothing special, kind of, but a decent name, so it does have sales, and the ones with the higher rates, I'll stick closer to my asking price,
sure.
to
Yeah.
make sure my customer pays that promotional fee,
Hmm.
you know. And at this point, it's a good move too because that means you got a click, you got an offer, right? So the algorithm likes all that.
Yeah.
Let's say you decline it or you counter and they decline it. Guess what? You're probably going to get somebody to click on it within the next day and buy it, and it's probably going to be organic. I get that quite a bit,
Yeah.
and pay full price even. So there's been a lot of them where it's like, well, I'm glad I turned that down. I did better very quickly after that. So now with this change, it wouldn't matter. You'd be paying the promotional either way, even if somebody else comes in and buys it at full price the next day. So
Right.
I like the concept of the dynamic where I don't have to totally research my advertising position
Yep.
on everything that I sell. But those rates have been going up too, obviously, since we started promotions. So
Yeah.
it's whereas I didn't need a cap because I was doing 8-9% regularly, no big deal. On a $2 card, that's what, 16 cents.
Right.
Um, and my pricing strategy and all that, if is fine with that. That fits. I have an advertising budget built into my resale price.
Hmm.
Um, but now, it's going to 12. 12, 13, 14, on some of those cards. So yeah, it's kind of pricing itself out. And then, like I said, you can't even get the organic after someone clicks on it. So
Right. Right.
that adds some difficulty to trying to stay under those numbers. I have a lot of people who use my coupons where they're buying the multiple cards, and I hardly ever have promotional fees on those.
Yeah.
So usually, mostly my bigger orders are from customers, and they don't, they're not clicking on any ads. They're just going to the store and buying what they want to buy.
Hmm.
So I would hate to think. Now that's another good question. Let's say somebody places a 10 card order. If one of those cards had a click on it on an ad, and somebody goes and buys that plus 9 other cards, do you pay a promotional fee on all 10 cards?
Not from what I understand. It's just the one that was clicked on.
But you won't really know.
Yeah, you'd have to really dig into each order to find out.
I mean, I don't know. So it feels like it's kind of their sneaky way to constantly raise prices and not really raise
Yeah,
prices,
it does.
you
It
know?
does feel like
And
that.
why couldn't they make it a trade-off with something, right? Like say, okay, we're gonna do this. We need to try to get some more income off these advertising things, whatever. But we'll give you unlimited listings, or we'll, increase your supplies coupon. Like try to offset it a little bit so that you at least feel like you got some extra value out of it. And they didn't. It's just, oh, we want more of your money now. So, you know,
Well, and in fairness, prices are going up everywhere, right? The store rates haven't really gone up that I recall.
no.
So they got to make it up someplace, right?
I mean, that's what they're telling us. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can decide how much of that you want to pay. That's
Right.
the one good
Right.
good part about it. You're right, because if they raise the store rate, you're screwed. You just got to pay it.
Hmm.
um, if they do it this way, you to some degree you'll have some control over it and see
And
how
that's
much it
what we all
costs.
want as sellers, right? Control.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I agree with you. Since this doesn't happen till January 13th, I'm gonna keep what I've got going for now because this is the biggest sales time of the year.
Right.
Out of my store. So I'm like, well, if I can still use the promotions the way they were, currently set up, um, without the additional charges, without a clicker, uh, yeah, I'm gonna keep it. I'm not gonna change it tomorrow. That would be foolish.
Right. Wait until this
So,
retail season is done.
mhm.
And it also gives you that time to baseline your numbers and your promotions, right? And
Right,
understand really
right.
what are you getting for what you're paying right now.
Yeah, and I mean, this is like the opposite conversation you and I had a week ago when you were sitting in my office.
Yeah.
And you were like, "I'm gonna drop dynamic," and I'm like, "Why? It's only a few pennies more, and then you for sure are in a good position in every sale, and blah blah blah." So clearly, I'm not like against promotions or eBay's evil or um, it's nothing like that. But this does change my thought on just going wild west and paying whatever I need to pay to get a sale.
Yeah. I think it still also depends on where you're at in your selling journey. Are you still in startup mode in your store and you're trying to get more listings and more followers? Then maybe it doesn't matter that you're going to be paying more because you're in maximum growth mode yet, right?
Yeah, and
Um,
that's a good point. I have, almost 2,700 followers now, and I have regular customers that come back, and I have other ways to make sales, encourage sales with the
yeah,
coupons, and I have lots of inventory so people can find plenty of cards to buy, um, on their own. So my store's been open since 2014, so I've got tenure. Like, yeah, if you're starting new, I would be like, do dynamic and just deal with it,
yeah, yeah,
until you get something going and you've got more inventory, more capital, whatever,
yep.
customer base.
That was a big part of my decision to drop dynamic recently and go to more of a flat fee, is that I feel like I'm making a transition from that maximum growth phase to a more stable phase, where I'm not pushing growth as much as I was the first couple years.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that it's kind of a personal decision. You have to decide where ultimately where you want to go. You know, if you want a million listings, well, you've got a long way to go.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to push to try to get there. Not necessarily promotions don't necessarily help your listing numbers, but
If anything, they
unless
make it harder, because if you sell
right,
more than you're listing,
yeah, and listings don't guarantee sales. I was just gonna say it the other way too.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's very interesting that this is the way they're going. I'm like, they must be looking at those sales and being like, all these people bought these cards after, or not cards, but stuff on eBay after someone else clicked on the ad, and they're like, we're getting totally hosed on this deal.
right.
You know, they had to. There has to be something on their side where they're like, man, we could have made a ton of money if we would have just kept it on one click, all click. Basically, is
Yep.
what it's going to be.
Mhm.
Um, but ooh, man, that yeah. I mean, they could burn themselves with some of this too.
And they're trying to pawn this off as a positive for sellers. I don't know if you saw that before when it was up there. I'll put it back in there, but so right in here says this update will simplify campaign reporting, which many sellers have requested for greater ease of use and clarity, while allowing you to maintain control over your spend. You continue to only pay when your item sells. As with any update, we recommend you monitor ad performance and adjust your strategy accordingly.
This is 100% not a benefit to the seller,
But they said it
without a
is.
doubt. I read a lot of crap on the internet every day that is just simply not true. Like, I am still one of those people who can understand when a fact is actually a fact.
Yeah.
And I use my education and my experience, and there's absolutely the only possible way you could gain in this is a bunch of people leave eBay, so there's less sellers, and a ton of people drop their promos entirely or beneath yours, and you're getting, your sales at a cheaper promotional rate.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to get a win out of this. But I think if you're getting enough sales and all those sales now are going to land into a promotional fee, I think it's going to be hard to offset that with maybe a few wins you would get out of this change.
Sure.
So anyway, so that's kind of, I mean, it is still by far the best way to advertise your eBay listings. Versus like pay per click on Google or something goofy like that. Um, but there are other ways to advertise yourself, right? That's kind of what we wanted to talk about a little bit about tonight. So maybe before we get into some of those ideas, let's get into the chat. And I saw there was some fire coming in, so maybe we should see what's going on. And
Some fire? This is
some
Wilkie Chop,
fire.
bro.
Yeah. 6
Dan
7,
first
bro.
in
6 7.
6-7. Yeah, it's so mid.
Yeah.
What's up, fellas? Watching the game and having a bud. Literally, LOL. Well, I'm glad
True.
he's not
True.
watching a bud and having a game.
Hmm.
I don't know what that would be, but
I don't know, that has all kinds of weird implications to it. I don't know. I assume he's saying he's watching the World Series.
yeah.
I had it on, but I have to do it the hobo way and like try to find videos that, oh crap, my live just came up on the TV. That's weird. Um I have to kind of watch the hobo version and watch like ones people put on YouTube until they get caught and taken down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I change it to another one because I'm not paying to watch the World Series. I have my limitations, and that's one of them.
Yeah, I
That should
got it
be
on in the background here.
that should be something free for everyone in our country to watch. Our nation's supposedly our national pastime.
Especially
Uh,
this year that it's Canada versus USA.
yeah, well, that's an interesting take too. Right now, but Yeah. So, welcome, Dan. Thanks for joining us. What's up? Back to you. And yeah, let's keep moving on.
Wolfie Joe is here. He's got the goat working.
Nice.
What'd you think
Goat
of the
time.
What'd you think of the goat's new entrance?
Yeah, we should talk about that. We had our new little intro music video. Vintage trading cards. Jeez.
Because I accidentally deleted the old one.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't have to tell them that, Charlie. I wasn't going to today.
Oh, I'm sure it would have came up at some point.
Yes, it would have. I save those things for when I really need something, you know?
Yeah, you got to save that cannon fire.
You bet.
Although
My
Dan would
mindset.
probably tell me it's still recoverable someplace. It was in the cloud, and I didn't realize it was cloud only, and I cleared out space in the cloud.
You know what's interesting about clouds is they eventually break up and go away. So,
Yeah,
you know, to use that as like, oh, this is where we store everything is in the clouds. I'm like, yeah, well, clouds are not very stable or
yeah,
trustworthy. They also throw lightning and are portals to other dimensions. And like, yeah, clouds are complicated, man. You know, it's
yeah.
probably not the best place to put your stuff.
My stuff is usually set up
So,
to just back up to the cloud. Like I
yeah,
have,
that's what mine does too.
yeah, I have a local copy and then a cloud copy. So I thought I was just deleting out all the backups, but apparently in some of my stuff it was cloud saves only, and I didn't realize it.
Oops.
Yeah. It was mostly videos and pictures and stuff. So, all right.
Yeah, things you can just replicate later.
Yeah. Just like pictures of my kids being born and stuff. So,
Yeah, who needs that? They knew they were born. You don't have to show them.
yeah. So anyway, I had to do a new intro. I thought I'd do something different. I was under the gun for that a little bit. It took me longer to get to it than I thought, but I wanted to have something ready for tonight. So we'll see. We'll see if we
Yeah,
stick
I
with
like
that
it.
for a while, if we change it up again.
It was a little long. Other than
Yeah.
that, and not I'm not necessarily against that because um usually Charlie makes us not start on time. So I kind of like that longer intro because it sort of gets everybody like, oh, they're actually on. Oh, they're actually on. Oh, they're actually on, and they can kind
Yeah.
of get into it before we start. I don't
I
know.
recall it's 34 seconds. And I had that thought too, like, oh, maybe I should cut this in half. And then I said to myself, well, you can't get through the whole 12 bar blues riff if I don't go the whole 30 seconds. So
I see your
can't
point.
make the
I see your
turnaround.
point. Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's great. I like it. And that's our boy Charlie there on the guitar too, by the way.
Yeah, a little rusty, but I powered through it. So
Mm,
it's
it's
always
good.
interesting too, because I can't just lift something. I gotta play something original. So you kind of combine a little bit of original flair with some traditional non-copyrighted, rhythm riffs, and there you go.
As long as it's generic, you're good.
Exactly. Boomslang is here tonight. He says, "Yo,
Yes. Yo, yo,
single yo."
yo. One yo is okay. We've established that. Welcome.
Designated Heckler is here. Happy Wednesday.
Same to you.
Designated Heckler has been having a private voice party in the Discord.
What?
You didn't notice that?
No.
Yeah, so we have voice chats in the Discord, and every once in a while someone gets hung up on there. I know I did it once when I was getting familiar with Discord, and Designated Heckler was in there for a couple days this week, and I see
Oops.
he's dropped out of it now, but there's, if someone goes into it, you'll see a little channel at the bottom, and that's what it is. Well, actually, voice channel, yeah, he's dropped out of it now. Now I'm in it.
Yeah, I can't say that one's happened to me. I knew that existed, but I've never been in it.
Sure. All right, I'm out of it now before I forget. Bill
Yeah.
Siamas is here. He says, "What?"
Ooh, we haven't seen Bill in a while. Welcome back, Bill.
Yeah,
Waza.
yeah.
True.
Daniel Larson says that sounds like a class action lawsuit pertaining to eBay, I assume.
I would venture to guess their attorneys go pretty thoroughly through anything, especially this big, that they're looking at doing, and um, get stuff in the right place. But I don't. We'll see.
Yeah.
I've been wrong before. I get the emails too. Have you done blah blah blah? You could be entitled to blah blah blah. It's a $65 billion settlement. And you get
Yeah.
$4.38.
$13.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or a free credit check.
Yeah, because they screwed up with your information.
Data.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right, and that's federal law. They have to give you that. So
Yeah.
I have like 25 services that watch my crap. So it's not really a benefit anymore.
Right. Right. Boomslang says he does a buy 3 get 1 free.
Yeah, that's he's referring to discounts,
Store-wide
not
promotion.
promotions. Right. Yeah. So that's something different, but he's right. That's something you can do, is try to give your customer a savings for making a buy versus trying to entice buyers through eBay's, advertising. So
Yeah.
you're giving up some money either way, but you're giving it to your customer. You're saving your customer money, which uh in my experience and all my education, that is the best way to run a business, is to give your best deals to your customers, not your middleman. So
Right. Right.
it's a great approach.
Yeah, typically you can kind of maximize that with a combination of in-store discounts and some coupons and a little bit of promotions as well if you really want to hit all the buttons to kind of maximize that.
And again, once we get through chat, we'll talk about some other things we can do to get our names out there and our stores out there. And if you do some of that legwork yourself and you build some of your own following and things like that, you don't have to pay somebody else to find customers.
Yeah.
So that should be something that you're driving towards. Yeah, when you start, you gotta pay whoever to get you whoever, but
Mm-hmm.
you can start to wean yourself off that a bit.
Absolutely. Daniel says I raised all my prices to $249, promote 10%, watch my sales decrease by 50%. My residential
Yeah.
painting business has exploded. I'm done fighting the algorithm, and eBay's totalitarian greed will end their business.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to end their business. They're doing just fine.
Yeah.
It is interesting though. Now you see a lot of like bigger sellers, bigger dealers and stuff, going, okay, well, I'm just going to do whatnot now. There's alternatives, right? It was eBay or die before. And they have seen that to some degree and realized they had to change some things to more benefit the seller, because they kind of never cared about the seller. It was always about the customer, the buyer, right?
Right.
Which was smart on their part, because the sellers are going to be there no matter what. But I think they've seen that sellers are having other great options now, and they have to try to keep some sellers too. So kind of a strange move to do this, I guess, if that's your part of your business model going forward, is to try to do more for sellers. But I don't know. I would like to see unlimited listings. I'd be willing to give them some more per transaction if I could just list as many items as I want.
Yeah.
I don't think that's too much to ask for. And I've heard the argument from others. Oh, storage space, blah, blah. Whatnot does it. I have all the stuff from both stores listed on Whatnot. I have all my stuff listed from both stores on Collects. One Collects account, one Whatnot account. But I have two stupid eBay accounts because they can't get their listing thing together. And I get it. They want you to buy up the next plan and so on. But how many people are just going to do that? Most people find a way around it, like I did. Have a second store, sell somewhere else, whatever. Start doing auctions. It. I don't think it's gaining them anything. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
and I
mean,
think
there's greed. There's greed in it. You ain't wrong.
we've talked in the past. We wondered kind of if there was some technical limitations for eBay too that they're trying to moderate. How many listings people get because of that, but it's always been one of the thorns in our sides. Like, why not unlimited listings?
To me, it made some sense a few years ago, but when they didn't use their own servers,
Hmm.
because I'm sure they had to pay for that space or could only have so much space, whatever the case may be. But they switched all that over the last couple of years, and it's all on their own stuff now. So I don't. It doesn't make sense to me. Um, and not only that, like capacities have changed a lot, right? Where you might have had 100 listings 10 years ago, and that like ate up a ton of space, right? But
Yeah,
now it's like nothing. I mean, you can have trillions of pictures on a home computer.
yeah,
How can eBay not, be able to? And the thing is they only have to keep the item information on there for so long. Once it sells, it goes away after a period of time. So they're only
yeah.
they're not like it's not constantly being added to. There is stuff that comes off. So I don't know.
True story.
Yeah.
Uh, Avius Rule says, I have dropped my promotional rates slightly. I'm going to review and see how my sales go year over year. I am also going to modify what I include in my promotional campaigns.
And I think that's the right way to go. I think that's kind of what we're trying to suggest to everybody. Yeah, this is an opportunity to sort of relook at it and make sure you're in the right position. And if you are and will still be when this thing happens, then stay where you're at,
Yeah.
and there's nothing you can do about it outside of that. But I haven't really played with my promotional rate in like forever. um, so it is a good time for me to look at some of that anyway. Uh, I can throw that in as a New Year's resolution since it's going to be right around that time. And, um, towards the end of the year here, we'll do a show where we talk about goals for next year, right?
Mhm.
Um, and that was going to be something pretty much every year. That's something I look at is how do I lower my expenses? You always want to increase your income and lower your expenses.
Right.
And this is obviously a piece of that, lowering expenses portion. So it's going to be on my list anyway. It's a great time to look at it. Now there's, something potentially being added to it that will influence me more to make changes. So I'm kind of on the same, you know, your statement here is almost exactly the same way I'm looking at it.
Agreed. Daniel says, wait until USPS raises ESE another 10%, which will eventually happen. I think they don't have a plan for any increases at the first of the year, though.
No, they waived January. There's not going to be an increase, so you can pretty much count on July having an increase.
Yeah.
But it's usually a twice a year assessment, depending on expenses. Now, gas and some transportation costs have actually gone down, so that probably had a play in it too.
Yeah.
And I people say, well, why would they even, why would they keep the price the same? Or you remember when the stamp price went down once? That was shocking.
I
Um,
don't remember that.
I do, yeah. It went down like 2 or 3 cents. Because the way it's written, this is a service to the U.S. citizens, if you will.
Mhm.
The way it's written is they're only allowed to charge like a certain amount based on like a bunch of different factors, of course.
Yeah.
And that's what sets the stamp price. So they were essentially getting too much money in, whatever that current stamp price was, so they had to cut the price. I certainly don't expect that. I don't expect a cut.
Yeah.
Although the prime rate went down yesterday, for those of you who love economic studies such as myself. So we're seeing some Fed rate cuts, which could help with a few different things too. But
Right.
uh, back on topic here, yeah, you just have to understand that at least once a year the post office is going to raise the stamp rate, and you just keep raising your bottom price every few years, and to make up for that difference. It's kind of like if you go to buy something from, let's say you go to buy a pound of ground beef from the store, right? And prices went up. So the store raises the price, right? Because who pays for the increase? Customer.
Customer always pays.
So
Yeah.
you need to do that. You need to do that yourself with your business. You can't just say, "Well, I'm going to eat this." You got to go, "Okay, well, the USPS price went up 10%. I'm raising my prices 10%." Like, it really doesn't matter that much. You're passing along that charge. Kind of like the promotional expenses. You should have something built into your pricing strategy um, to help you with those promotion rates. Now, when you do dynamic, that's a little more difficult because you don't know exactly what rate you're going to hit.
Right.
But when you're doing low dollar stuff, a couple percent here or there is only a penny or two. So you should be pretty close on most of them.
He goes on to say, I will no longer buy a card at a show that I cannot list for at least $2.99 with a good possibility of selling.
Yeah, I mean, I never look at like the selling price. I always look at margins. I don't understand looking at dollars of stuff.
Mhm.
I want percentages. And then if you're going to do low end stuff, which is obviously why we're here,
Yeah.
then it's got to be quantity. Those are the two things you have to look at. You got to somehow pursue quantity of sales, which is where the multiple items for a coupon kind of thing. That's where that all plays in.
Yeah.
But it, if you're paying $2 for the card and you're selling it for $2.99, you're not making any money. You're better off buying a 10-cent card and selling it for $1.99.
Yeah.
Even if you have a promotional expense to it, it still would make sense because you're not gonna have the margin. So
Yeah.
it's in what you sell something for. We've talked about this a lot in the past. What you sell something for is not where you make the money. It's when you buy it. So I'd focus more on like, well, I won't buy a card that sells for $2.99 for more than 50 cents, right? Like you have to you
Right.
need to set your limit more on the buy side than what you're doing as the listing price.
Yeah. And the other thing is I wouldn't I don't go to a card show and plan on paying a promotional fee for cards that I buy. Usually when
Right.
I'm picking cards, I'm picking them because I would think they would sell without any promotions. Now, reality is, do I end up putting promotions on some because I get it wrong? Absolutely. So I get what you're saying. Like you want to have a little more buffer in there, I think is what you're getting after. But again, I wouldn't grab a card at a card show saying, oh, as long as I pay another dime in promotions on this should go fast, right?
Yeah, you don't buy based on a promotional. Uh, yeah, I get what you're saying. You're always trying to buy stuff that's going to be liquid, right? I mean,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. The goal is not to have to use any extra effort or money to move that product.
And that's what, to me, that's the most annoying part of this change is it's like you're gonna charge me for something you didn't do. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I found the buyer and you're gonna charge me the promotional fee. Like that's not.
Yeah.
If you find me the buyer, yeah, I pay you the finder's fee, right? I mean, this is this isn't like eBay is not inventing anything here. This is sales 101, right? So you have your platform, right, that you list your stuff on. Well, they get their percentage, right? That's their commission or consignment fee, whatever you want to call it. That's been established for years and years and years and years, way before eBay. And then okay, well, I need somebody to know that I have this thing for sale. So now I pay for advertising, right? You do Google clicks, you do whatever. Back in the day you'd put ads in a newspaper or something, right? Uh, that's what promotions are. You're paying for eBay to find you a buyer for this item. So
Yeah.
that's what kind of irks me. Like they're charging you a fee when they didn't do any work. Like I don't know. That one's, to me, it falls out of sales 101, and I don't like that because I want to, things have to go a certain way for you to be able to be successful. Margins can be slim. There's competition. There's the economy. There's your own bills. There's expenses, and you can't just throw like a total wrench into it where it doesn't fit into the model. At least that's how I look at it.
Yeah. So now I'm rethinking the username here. And by the way, I swear I recognize this cat in the avatar. Like I feel like this is one of our normal viewers that normally we see a screen name versus username. And I'm thinking maybe this is Avs rule, like Colorado Avalanche fan.
That would make sense.
Hopefully they'll clarify for us because it's driving me nuts. So
I'm sure we'll find out.
They'll add an algorithm fee on quantity sales in 2027.
Possibility.
Yeah, I wouldn't put anything past any big corporation.
Yep. I do suggest, especially if you're using like Car Dealer Pro and stuff, I do suggest you try out, Collects and whatnot. They're good platforms to sell on. It's really easy to list on now, obviously, with Car Dealer Pro's tools. Give that a shot. That might be some way you can combat some of the promotional expense because you don't have to pay anything over there. You're not going to get eBay number sales, but you could get some extra there to help offset some of the cost.
Yeah, absolutely. Up next, trading cards is here. See, that's what I'm talking about. So it's at JQW 8707, but we know him as Up Next Trading Cards for the longest time until they changed this over. Hey, hope everyone doing good. I basically agree with Charlie. I promote most items. I have lowered the baseline, but everything I put a promo spend on, I assume that percentage is coming out.
Yep, that's the right way to do it.
Daniel says Probstein is leaving eBay. It's a mass exodus. So Burbank Sports Cards, Probstein. Who else? Who's next?
PWCC. PWCC left a while ago. Golden used to do some auctions on there. They only use their own platform now. Yeah. Honestly, that should kind of be your goal, right? You should be able to build yourself to a Probstein level where people know who you are. And then, why would you pay eBay if you can get your own business? The ideal model for selling online is to build your own website. Maybe you pay hosting fees or, cart management fees or whatever, but that's the ideal situation to sell in because you don't pay anybody anything, for your sales. Right. But how do you get somebody there to shop? That's the challenge. If you're not known, where do you get customers? So eBay's kind of one of your best spots for sort of building that up, right? Going to where the customers are first versus trying to get the customers to come to you.
He goes on to say, when a company allows sellers who sell tens of millions a year and lets them walk, they have lost their way. They'll be Sears within 10 years, bankrupt.
I don't agree with that at all. And you have to remember, we're like a small piece of this. Like there's trillions of items that sell on eBay.
True. Yeah.
There's that marketplace needs to be there for small time, let's say you have one card you want to sell, right? And that you have an eBay account that you sell on a couple times a year. You're not going to open a Whatnot account and do a show.
Yeah.
You're not going to list on Collects, you probably don't even know it exists. You're going to throw it on eBay, just like you do your kids' old clothes and the bike you don't ride anymore, So that's like the biggest, one of the biggest parts of eBay.
Yeah.
Is that huge online trade market. I remember people saying that years ago when like Facebook open marketplace and all that. And they were like, "Oh, this will put eBay out of business." I'm like, "No, not really." Um, has it taken some business away from eBay? Sure, but eBay's got a pretty large market share in just about everything for online sales.
They do. It would be interesting to chat with someone who's a seller of different products and get their thought on this change. I have a friend who is a pretty significant uh, eBay seller and not in trading cards at all. I'm going to have to get their take on this too to see if they look at it the same way us card sellers are looking at it. They may say, well, I don't promote anything to begin with anyway, so it doesn't matter, right?
I did see a number today that matters. Cards on eBay are promoted 35% of the time.
Okay.
So if that helps any of you make some decisions, that means 65% of cards that are listed on eBay are not promoted at all.
Yeah.
That number was different than I thought it would be. Because most of the people selling cards on there are doing it as like a side hustle or business. There's so much volume moving in competition and all that I figured there'd be more promoted than what I read. Now that's eBay overall though. It's not just that was trading cards. 35% of trading cards are promoted.
I think that doesn't necessarily surprise me because I think about the ease of entry into selling on eBay. You can know absolutely nothing about selling and margins and all of that and put stuff on eBay and start selling it, right? And it's not until you become a more savvy seller that you start to understand the impact of promotions and start dabbling in them a little bit. So that doesn't necessarily surprise me.
I just still think the greater volume of cards that are sold on there are sold by people who sell cards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah. I didn't think it would be like astronomically high, like 95% are promoted or something, but I figured it'd be in at least like the half range.
Okay.
If not a little bit more. So the fact that I was 15 to 20% off did surprise me a little bit. So
yeah,
I
I
kind of
would
like
give you
I
that.
kind of liked that. It felt good reading seeing that like, okay, well you're not competing with everyone.
Yeah. And I'll give you, cards are a highly competitive market because there's so much product out there that I could see where you would think they'd be promoted more.
Yeah.
Bo's with us tonight. He says eBay will be fine. Earnings call today and revenue up 9% over estimates. GMV up 10%.
Yeah, I don't think eBay has any problems at all, really. And I don't think they would be employing this if they were their business was sinking. I don't think this would be their strategy to try to dig out. But I mean, eBay is a publicly traded company, and they got to try to make money for their shareholders. That's bottom line. They don't really have to care about you. They don't have to care about trading cards. They don't have to care about the buyers. None of that. They're going, how do we get the most money we can to pay our shareholders? And this is obviously something they thought would benefit that. So that's what they're going with. And then we just have to figure out our path with that. We're just going to accept it and go, okay, well, this is going to cost me a little bit more now, but it's still what I want to do. Or you say, hey, I'm going to try to do it without that and do some of my own legwork and try to get those sales.
Dan's going to give me some IT advice here. He says if it was from OneDrive, it should be in the recycle bin. You would think so, Dan. But what else did I do to make more room? I cleared out my recycling bin.
Oops.
Because that was the biggest thing I found that had tons and tons and tons of stuff in it. So, so I gotta just call it and say, I lost some stuff in there. I don't think there's anything too critical in there. I'm not too worried about that. So Designated Heckler says, "Oh crap, I didn't even know what you mean about the voice chat." So he's got to figure it out now. No worries. Bo says eBay doesn't want a clogged platform with stagnant inventory. They don't want to be a flea market with junk. We got Goodwill pallets for that, right? And that one Mike Trout card. Lucky Bo.
Define junk. One man's junk is another man's treasure. I've sold some pretty wild stuff on eBay that I'm like, no one's going to buy this, and it's the first thing that sells out of what I list. So
yeah.
I don't agree with that at all. Plus, like I said, you just open another store. So it's not like you can't combat, being able to list other things. They have a lot of categories. They are definitely a flea market. They let you sell just about, well, anything legal, really. You can list on eBay. So their doors are open for you to sell anything you want.
That is fair. Like I talk about a friend that's a seller. They sell every odd and end you can think of. Like sometimes I see the stuff they're selling and I'm like, why would you even think to try and sell that?
Right.
So you're right. There's a lot of different stuff out there. I do agree with Bo in that, they do focus on dead inventory with sellers. Like they will dock you for too much dead inventory. So I think there's a little piece of that. But I don't know that explains enough of why they're doing what they're doing, right?
Yeah, and even limiting the listings doesn't necessarily stop that, because people just end the listing and relist it. There's other ways to make things not stagnant. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's why they do it. I think they do it because they want you to buy up to the next store level. To me, that's the whole motivation.
Yeah.
They want that guaranteed chunk of money, every month.
I'm giggling because I looked ahead at the next chat where they blame you, Adam. Designated Heckler says, "I know I was chatting with Adam about business cards. I must have pushed the wrong button. Regardless, I blame Adam."
Sounds good to me. Yeah, we were. For those of you who don't know, there is like a chat function or a message function on Discord,
Yeah.
and I do get messages and stuff on there. And I was talking with Designated Heckler and sent them some pictures and some advice and answered some questions. But yeah, that was not on the voice chat channel. That was on the messages or the DMs or whatever you want to call it. Space. So yeah, you're good on that one. But apparently you were in the voice section. I don't know. But yeah, you can blame me. That's cool. I don't mind.
And I look at stuff like that. So if I see you out there, I'm like, oh, somebody want to chat about something? I will actually go check that out. Adam's like, I don't know why that looked different, and then he just closes it and goes to something else. But I actually check it out.
Pretty much. Anything that's like a play button or a listen thing, I'm like, nah, I ain't got time for that. That includes voicemail and but wait till it gets full and then delete it all and then just let it start piling up again. That's what voicemail is for.
Looks like I was right. The cat avatar is Art Green, and yes,
there you go.
He's an Avs fan.
There you go.
Like I should be reading tarot cards.
Okay.
Don't know why it changed, but I'm rolling with it.
It did that for a lot of people. It goes to your like how you represent yourself individually on YouTube now. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Bo says eBay owns Golden.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, I don't really follow that stuff. I don't do the auction places, but yeah, that could be.
Max is with us. He says, never promoted a single item on eBay outside of cards over 5 years. Isn't needed if you buy right.
I don't know. I got quite a bit of sales once I turned promotions on, so I'll be continuing to do those. Some things just need a little bit of help to find a buyer. in my opinion.
Hmm.
You know, if you've got thousands of cards, is every single card going to be liquid and there's a buyer that waiting for it right now? No, it's not possible. So, um, yeah, there's definitely stuff I don't promote. I agree with you there. Like, you know, if I have a bunch of Awatani inserts I'm going to upload tonight, yeah, I'm not going to promote those. You know, his stuff right now is on fire. For example, but what if they didn't make the World Series? What if he got injured? What if, you know, like when you're Pokemon for you is probably a little, you know, probably a little more stable that way, but sports is just stuff changes and
Yeah.
sometimes you need some help to find the buyer. But
He goes on to
Max
say,
is right. You do not have to promote. It is
no.
not like it's not a required thing. Just know that you could lose some sales by not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. He says he's sold in tons of different categories. Cards is a sliver of what they are concerned about.
Sure. Yeah, and I think we kind of covered that. You know, man, you can sell anything on eBay. Um, but it's relevant to what our show is, so you know
Yeah.
that's what we're going to mostly talk about. Uh, but yeah, this is going to affect sellers in every category, of course. So I imagine you're going to see other content creators making videos about it and things like that. Probably already have.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, you know, other takes on it as well.
And he says you sell sub $5 stuff with hundreds of the same card listed, so different models. And I think that's a good point. Yeah.
Right. That's true.
So we were talking about the changes I made a few weeks ago, and I mentioned, you know, some of my traffic numbers are down. And that's no joke. It changed pretty quickly. Within the first week, I was seeing differences. My impressions are down 49% right
Oof.
now. And my page views are down 8%. Okay.
Okay.
So promotions definitely make a difference on those. Now, on the flip side, my sales conversion rate is up a little bit more. My click through rate is up a little bit more. And more importantly, my margins are up a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah.
But your quantity might be down, right?
Correct.
So
We talked about
you're
decreasing
making
selling
more per
costs.
sale but less
Yeah.
sales. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So kind of a trade-off to some degree.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But you have more inventory. You can keep more inventory then.
Yes, and I'm also growing in the multi-card sales
Right.
place too. So as I do that, I'm less concerned with paying an extra quarter to get, you know, that one single sale in front of a buyer, right?
Right.
So Max says most card people forget it's an open market platform. Not saying you guys do though.
Yeah, I agree. It's super easy for us to focus on the card area, but I mean, I sell other stuff on there. I buy other stuff on there. I mean, it's an unbelievable marketplace. It really is.
Mrs.
You
JC3
know.
sells books out there.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the site started with people trading Pez dispensers.
Yeah.
You know, so there's something for everyone, and yeah, if all the card sellers go away, it will definitely hurt eBay, but it won't close up their shop.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we are caught up in the chat, sir.
cool. Let's talk about like some alternative ways to help you get some sales where you don't have to pay promotional fees.
Okay.
My number one tip on that one, and we haven't talked about this in a while, but it's business cards. You can create followers, right? Once they know what your store is, so you want to make sure that they have that in front of them. If they have their card laying on their desk from a nice purchase they did with you, and now they're looking for some more cards, you know, you might be the first one they go to. And as long as they're going right to you on eBay, you should not have a promotional fee anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you have promotional fees set up. The other thing, and QR codes. I love QR codes. I put QR codes on both sides. One for the non-sports store. Well, this one's kind of hard to read. You can see it though. One is for the sports store. Make it as easy as possible for people to find you. It's difficult to find a seller on eBay by just going to eBay and like searching.
Yeah. You have to go to
Um,
the advanced search function
Yep.
and stuff.
But you can use that to your advantage because if the other sellers aren't doing any of this and now you're easily accessible, that's a big leg up. They're fairly inexpensive. They don't weigh anything. They're small. They work great for shipping with cards. You just slap it in there with the card, and you're good to go. Lots of different design options, tons of different print markets. You can put all kinds of different information you want on there.
Yeah.
You can bring them to shows and drop them off. You can, um, whatever you want to do. There's a lot of options for the use of business cards. So I highly suggest that. I order mine from gotprint.com. I've been doing business with them for a lot of years. I've had them design custom trading cards, different things, quality products, quick shipping, easy templates, to build your cards. And I generally will buy an order of 5,000 cards at a time, and I think it's like $130. Does that sound right, Charlie? I haven't bought them in a few months now, so
because I get a smaller order and it's like $30.
yeah. So, but two-sided color, color on both sides. I get basically 2 business cards for one, right? Because I'm using both sides to put
Right.
information on. So big fan of those. I think that's a great way to get yourself some more customers. Have a contact on there if you want to have them email you directly, and you can do sales off of eBay. That's a good option for that. So yeah, the other thing I don't think a lot of people do, and I highly suggest, is to buy your own URL for your store. So you can do like go to a host, right? Like GoDaddy or something like that. Search for some sort of URL that you could purchase that represents your brand, your business name, and have that point towards your eBay store. So I bought the dollarbox.shop because the dollarbox.com, of course, was taken. Was it taken or was it available? But I think it was available, but they wanted like $2,000 a year to host it. So .coms are tough. Like there's a huge premium added onto that. So I like the dollarbox.shop. I thought it sounded nice. Kind of makes it stand out from .com websites and things. And it's a shop, right? So I mean, .shop makes sense for that link to take you to the store. So that's also a good thing. I think mine cost me like $39 a year, I think, for hosting. I just paid the hosting fee like last week again. So it's not very expensive. And again, it's an expense for your business. So, if you're, doing business taxes, it's something you can deduct, as an expense and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, but I think they make a huge world of difference. Now, what I started doing when I first got business cards and I was building, I would put a card in every single order. Even if it was a repeat buyer, just because I wanted to constantly be in front of them and know, oh, this was an order from, oh yeah, that's from that same guy again. Now that I've been established for a while, now I only put a card in with an order that hasn't done business with me before, so that they now have my card. And the way I do it is, I have the card saver and I put this on top of it, right? So depending on where the order was placed, if it was in the sports store, I have the sports side of the card up. If it's a non-sport card, then I have the non-sport side of the card facing up.
Okay.
You just try to appeal to the, most likely interested side of the card for that buyer. So just real quick, flip one way or the other when I throw it in with the order, and pretty simple.
Yeah.
They're small, they store easy. You all have card boxes, so you can put them right in a card box. To keep them together, and then once you have the design down and you like what you got, and unless you have changes, you can just go back in and hit that reorder button. They do send you coupons once in a while, to entice you to buy different items or bigger order sizes. But anyway, so those are probably my two biggest tips off the top of my head, that don't cost a ton and allow you to do some of your own advertising and get some of your own organic growth and keep some of that money out of eBay's pockets with promotional fees and so forth.
Sure. Yeah, I do the business cards as well as I was showing before. The way I approach mine is I have my store information on one side, and then eventually, so I used to have, first set I had some information about the Goat Card Show on it, and I've since changed that up to be more about a direct contact for me with my store, the business Gmail address there, and that backside then becomes more about giving to dealers at shows, people I have a conversation with randomly that are like, hey, I got a bunch of cards. Did you want to come take a look at them? And they would say, well, what's your information? Well, now I have that on there that people can reach out to me. And what it says is just, don't know what to do with that pile of cards. Let Stu help you. Give us a call, give us an email. We'll come check it out. Maybe we can help you move some of that,
Have you had anybody message you yet on it?
Not yet.
Okay.
But it's
Just curious.
relatively new. Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of them go out in the mail because my store side goes out. That I do send a card with every new buyer as well. So that has the opportunity to build for the more local market yet. But again, I've been asked for information at shows at times and in random conversations. So that does help. I do have one guy on tap. We just haven't connected yet to go through the collection. So
it's kind of interesting too. I noticed your cards are up and down versus this way.
Yes.
Something I decided to do a long time ago. I just feel like it's a better way for my logo to display and the information to be on it. I get comments from people on that, like, "Oh, your card goes this way," and I'm like, and especially like when you put it with a trading card, right? Trading cards kind of go up and down, so kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, try to do something creative. Try to find some niche. Do something that makes you stand out. I've always done the QR codes. I don't think a lot of people do that, and I think that's a big advantage.
Yep.
If you want to point them somewhere, make it simple. Take a picture of it, and there's my store. So I think those are probably the two like quick solution pieces you can do to do advertising. Then there's like per click stuff. You can start putting like links to certain items, and paying Google to, find you buyers and stuff. Probably going to cost you more than just doing the promotions with eBay though.
Right.
So that's something you want to be a little bit careful with, and make sure you set budgets so you're not overspending on that kind of thing. But you can, another thing is to just build your brand, right? So make your own website for your store. Have a Facebook page for your business that has a link to your eBay store, and as you post items, you can have them shared to your social media, Instagram, pop on Snapchat and say, hey, I just got this awesome card and I just listed it in my eBay store, link below, go check it out. Like, if you don't want to pay eBay, I completely respect that, but you can't be lazy either. Then you got to get out. You have to get out and do that work. That is honestly, a lot of times it's honestly just worth paying eBay to they have the catalog and the means and all the tools right there to find you a buyer. That's why promotions are not a bad thing. But if you want to cut some of that and put your own work in, you can do that and get some of that business on your own.
Yeah.
Business cards are good anyway. Like if you set up at shows or you go to shows, or like Charlie said, hey, got extra cards here, buzz me. I was building up this YouTube following. I had a business card with the YouTube address on it, which I have to order those. I keep forgetting to do it. But I had to redesign my card because I opened a second store. Well, I want both stores on one card. That makes the most sense. And then I was going to have make a card with YouTube stuff on one side and then the Goat Show stuff on the other side. Haven't done that yet, but that's why those are such a useful tool, because they're physical, right? So you can send them anywhere. You can drop them on. I take a big pile of them with me to the national. I just drop a few handfuls here and there on different tables.
Yeah.
People pick them up and check you out. That's great. So, and it makes you look more professional, right? You look more like a real business if you've got an advertising piece, a business card, something like that.
We actually talked about getting separate cards for the Goat Show, and we probably need to come back to that at our next meeting or something. I think that makes sense. But one thing we didn't talk about with the cards that I saw an immediate boost with is it exponentially helped increase my followers on my store, which I believe there's a direct correlation between followers and repeat buyers.
Well, one of the things that's interesting about people going directly to the URL for your eBay store is they see a landing page for your store. I don't think people realize that. I think they go, oh, well, if I type that in, it's just going to be like the long string of listings like you would if you looked up a generic card, right? And it's not true. As a matter of fact, I scanned this today and pulled it up. Just every once in a while I check just to make sure that my URL is pointing to the store and things like that. And there's a pop-up box that comes up first that says, hey, do you want to follow this store? And you can click a button. So the first thing it's going to ask you to do, well, if you're back again, if you're visiting my link directly, you might want to follow this store, right? Because you'll get coupons then, and you'll see my newsletters, and make it easier. You can go back to your saved sellers. It'll make it easier for you to find me on your own and make another purchase and so forth. So that's pretty invaluable. Like that kind of, builds you out to being your own, retail website within eBay. And again, for $39 or whatever the heck it is I pay a year, to me that's got pretty good value. So my followers continue to increase. I'm sure a lot of it is due to purchases, but I honestly think a chunk of it is from people going there and they're going, yeah, I'll follow this store, because it's a pop-up box with a prompt, right, to click. So that's a lot more interactive and asking for it up, versus you just trying to like find my store and then clicking follow, on your own. It pops up. You have to go through that pop-up in order to get to the store and see my listings. So you have to make some action there to continue on. So I like that. I think that's and that's another thing. To go back to the very basics of advertising, create a logo, create a business name. Don't be like Jack's Cards and have a picture of, you with your cat, there's nothing wrong with that, as a casual seller, but that doesn't scream legit, invested business. I paid a designer to design my logo. I had a specific look I was looking for. I've worked with this designer as a matter of fact, same guy who designed our Goat Show logo. And I've just really liked his work. I think he's really good at coming up with a business logo. And as easy as that sounds, it's actually really difficult because it's got to be simple enough, but yet stand out enough that people remember it. Right? What's the check mark logo? What business is that?
The check mark, like VeriSign?
Well, I don't want to say the swoosh because that'll give it away, but
Nike.
You see the swoosh, it's Nike, right? Well, what the hell does a swoosh have to do with Nike, right? It's just it's a check mark, right? The best way to call it. Or the gold M, right? What's the gold M? That's McDonald's. Very simple, but defining, like exactly what that thing is. So that that's something you definitely need to do is have some kind of logo, some kind of name. Preferably have it, the name to do something with what you're selling, and you can put your own name in it. You can have a family name in it. You can do some other stuff with it, but you need to have something that says I know exactly who that is. That is all the advantage in the world in advertising, right?
Agreed.
I mean, the Goat Show, right? Like, who the hell else has a card show called the Goat Show, right? And so it's like, you hear the Goat Show, you probably know what show they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I didn't tell you this, so I'm going to tell you now. But I was in the Green Bay shop. Well, I think it was the day that I ran into you anyway. But you weren't there at the time. But another customer came in and must have put some boxes on hold or something, right? So he came in to
Okay.
buy them, and they were talking about a couple different products and some cards that were coming out of it. And the guy casually says to the store owner, oh yeah, well, I was at the Goat Show and I saw some of these and they were really cool, and so I wanted to pick some of them up. And when it's in casual conversation and people aren't like, what the hell is the Goat Show? Like,
Yeah.
that's when you've made it, right? Like, oh, the
Yeah.
Goat Show, I know what that is. And it doesn't even sound weird now when you say it. When
Right.
we first came up with it, I was like, man, it's such a stupid or weird name, right? For a card show. But that's also what I love about it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Greatest of all time. Sure, everybody knows that, but Green Bay's official awesome trading
It's really
card show,
awesome
right?
trading card. So, yeah.
Yeah. It I think it makes it more fun. I think it makes it more identifiable, and I just think stuff like that. Um, it's I think those are smart ways to try to help yourself a little bit stand out.
Yeah,
You know what?
we had a similar experience. I think I told you about this like a month ago or so. We were at a wedding up north, and someone came up to us at the wedding, Jenny and I, and they're like, "Hey, you're the Goat Show people."
Yeah, and they could have easily just called us that show in Green Bay or whatever, but
Yeah,
because we made it a very discerning, exact,
it's
different
memorable.
name. Exactly.
Hmm.
So when they go, when they say, "Gosh, when is that next card show?" They can simply type in "Goat Show," "Goat
Yeah,
Card Show," whatever. We're gonna be the only ones that come up, and that's an advantage over like Northeast Wisconsin Card Show or something like that.
right.
Um, and I'm not condemning those. That's fine if those are the names you want to go with. I don't feel like it's special, and it's hard to say it's special when it doesn't sound special. um, but and you can do one of these things, you can do all of these things, you can do none of these things. You just have to decide what you want to put into it, what you think, works for you.
Yep.
I sell a ton of cards, and I only have to buy business cards like twice a year, not even quite twice a year. So I spend like $250 essentially, let's say,
Yeah.
on business cards for the year. So it's an extremely small expense for the value I believe you get out of it. The URL, like I said, I bought one that was basically market price, so it wasn't inflated due to demand. And I think it's like $39 a year. So very affordable. Making QR codes is free, you know, all that stuff. But it also gives you a good tool, right? Just to talk about yourself. So let's say you're at a show and you're like, man, I really want to promote my eBay store and blah blah blah. So are you just gonna go around and like talk to these people and say you sell cards? That you know what I mean? It gives you some. Hey, look, here I am. I'm the dollar box. That's what linked directly to my store. Come check out the cards that I have for sale. Or you set up at a show and you have these customers come up and they're looking for certain cards. Oh, I didn't bring those with me today, but um, I have it in my shop. Here, go there. You can buy that card right now. And again, that takes you out of the promotional expense too, because you're
Right.
selling that card yourself and sending them directly to you, as opposed to well, just search it on eBay, and if you find my listing, then click on it. Well, what that you're not making that very easy for your customers, and they're not likely to buy, not
Yeah.
as likely to buy, I guess.
Yep.
So
I
the
agree.
professional value, the fact that you can throw something in the mail with the card that's cheap and easy, um, I think it's a highly underestimated tool.
Yeah, I know I was not in a rush to get them, but now that I have, I keep reordering, right? I see the value in them. So the business cards, you sold me on those.
Charlie never believes me at first on anything I tell him, and then a little time goes by, and he's like, well, I decided to order some cards.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, yep, yeah, that's good, you know. Um, but I think we all do that, right? Like we all want to make our own path and we want to, and there's things that I do that he won't do, things he does I won't do, So you have to really just assess what you're trying to do and who your customers are and things like that. And
Yeah.
um, Max made a comment earlier about, well, you sell sub $5 cards. Well, I have lots and lots of cards that are way over $5 too. So I don't pigeonhole myself either. Yeah, the vast majority of my cards that's what I like. I like the low end. I feel like I get the best margins out of that stuff. But um, here's an here's an example. I just sold this card tonight. I haven't shipped it yet. This is a PSA 9 Topps Gold label from 1999. Mint 9, Class 1. Nice looking card. It's $65 I sold this for. So I have cards like this all the time, that I sell, besides $2 cards and $1
Mhm.
cards. Um, I'm trying to think of another one but yeah. So you have to. Oh, a Lamine. I just sold a Lamine Mall rookie that was like 40 some dollars. That was a couple days ago. So yeah, you can kind of do more than just all low end or just all high end. Like there's a ton of range in cards. Um, and the only reason I bring this up is because that helps you offset some of those expenses, right? So if you
Right.
pay 10% on something like this, but your margins are really good, it can help you overcome the like $1.50 sales or $2 sales, where the money is a lot pinchier because of
Well,
costs.
cheer.
Well, because you have the shipping and the packaging, and when you're
Yeah.
talking, you make 50 cents on it, and you start, nickel and diming everything else, postage, whatever. Um, yeah, it's pretty. I don't think you could survive selling $1.50 cards. You'd have to sell like a gazillion of them a month to really, really get anywhere.
Right.
Ooh, I just dropped
We
it.
can,
Oh well.
we can
Luckily,
jump
it's in
back
a
into
in a
chat for
protector.
yeah. Max says he's sold books, underwear. He does want to call out brand new, sprinkler heads, Harley parts, and video games, etc. So he's pretty
Yeah,
diversified as well.
for sure.
Boomslang says he's added a flyer with every sale, and the cards are wrapped in it. And yeah, my QR code leads me to eBay.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. I don't go that route because printing expenses are so freaking high for ink and stuff like that, and even paper has gotten expensive. Um, I remember when a ream of paper was like less than $2. What is it now? Like 8 or something? 8 or 10? I haven't bought any in a while. Usually Bree takes care of that, but that can get expensive too. But um, uh, you know, ink per page plus piece of paper, it probably is pretty similar to the cost of a single business card, though. So you're probably not too far off.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, that's a great way to do it. And you're right. Then you can put specific cards in there. So that's clean. I like that. That's much
The
better than
old
the people that I hear just wrap it in a piece of paper and ship it. I'm like, why are you doing that? It
just
makes
plain
no
piece of
sense. There's
paper.
nothing on the paper. Uh, so great idea. If you want to wrap it in paper, put something on the darn paper to make it worth sending out.
Yeah.
I like that.
Max says you can tell how much I subscribe to marketing stuff. Being a finance guy, we usually have a strong disdain for marketing dollars.
Yeah, I think what's important, yeah, marketing can get way out of hand, and people will take your money no matter what. Um, but I think like if you find the right pinpoint type things that will actually help you, marketing is totally worth it. As a matter of fact, I think it's necessary. If you have goals to grow and you want to try to get ahead of the competition, yeah, marketing is that's going to be the thing. You've got to get eyeballs, right? You can't
Yep.
sell it if no one finds it.
There you go. Dan says I googled when is the next goat show and you didn't come up now. But now I know the next show is in my area. Well, if you're using Ask Jeeves, Dan, that's probably not going to come up.
Yeah, our next show has been announced, but we haven't put anything out on it yet. So we're still in that kind of build phase for the flyer and stuff.
To echo Adam's point, though, I just put in the Goat Card Show Green Bay, and we're what came up in the first number of results. So,
what happens if you just put in Goat Show, the Goat Show? Put that in.
Oh man. Well, that goes to a Tijuana site that I don't know that we can show.
Is it? There
you go.
There you go. See, we still pop up. In fact, the first images are one of our posters too. So yeah, I think things that just kind of help you stand out just make sense.
Yeah, if you just do Goat Show, then you get a few other different things.
I figured that would be pretty broad, yeah. And there are literally shows for goats, like the animals. Like dog shows and pony shows and that kind of thing. So we knew we were going to have like some kind of cross in search that way, but definitely if you put in Goat Card Show, you'll find us. And I think that's how most people would look for it. If they didn't know anything about us, but they knew it was called the Goat Show, they would put in the Goat Card Show. I would hope.
Or at least eventually they would figure that out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Max says business cards have been on the list for a while. Chalk it up to laziness, though.
Yeah, honestly, they're really not that difficult. If you find a good website that creates cards, I talked about one earlier, but you certainly can use any other one. Most of them have like templates and you can just kind of build off of. So obviously my logo is my logo, but like the little green boxes kind of gradient thing that's going on there, that's just a template that I used off the website. Same on the back. No, I could have done the same design for both sides. I just kind of wanted to separate them a little bit.
Okay.
To show that there's a different, it's not just the same store advertised on both sides, right? So that's why I did that way. But again, choices, decisions. Most of you only have one store, so you just have to do, the one design. And then on the back, you can do what Charlie did. You can have your email address. You can have, if you promote a card show, you could have that on there. You could have, your slogan, whatever you want to. Do not put yo, and do not put you can't sell what you don't list. As long as you don't put those two on there, you're good. You should have a pretty good business card to create.
And Max says people have to buy paper.
I don't know what he means.
People still buy paper, Max.
They do. I don't know that you have to. Like for promoting our card, because I thought that was kind of weird at first too when we started promoting the card show. I'm like, do we really need to print flyers? But yeah, you do, because we have like the card shop flyers. That's like our greatest draw. That's where we go through the most paper, because people, they go to the checkout, they buy their cards, and they grab a flyer and they throw it in the bag. And then when they get home, they go, oh, I could go to this show. They add it to their calendar. They do whatever. So, obviously your digital advertising and, Facebook, we do that too. We pay for advertising for the show, right? Certain posts we boost and get in front of as much audience as you can. Like business just has expenses to get out there. You can't expect everyone to find you.
Absolutely. And Max says he just doesn't see a use for paper in his business, which I think that's common these days. It is kind of
I don't phased out. I don't use any paper. I have zero paper. Well, other than like printing my labels,
flyers,
of course.
I guess that's about it.
Right, but that's for the show. For my business, no, I don't use paper for anything.
Yep. Designated Heckler says, I went to Canva and was able to make a QR code with my logo in the middle. Gives it a little extra instead of a plain QR code.
Perfect. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
You have to be careful a little bit, because if I kind of learned this the hard way doing marketing for something else. And if you make that logo in the middle too big, the QR code won't scan correctly. Or consequently, if your logo in the middle has a bunch of like black lines that go in different directions, it thinks it's part of the QR code. And you could get, if it crosses with another code that was created, you could get to some weird website. So I would just encourage you to, before you're like putting it on active print and stuff, bring it up on your screen and actually scan it and make sure it goes to the right website.
Absolutely. Where was I here? Canva. Max says, you must not realize what my city is known for. We get it. The paper capitals of the world here in Wisconsin.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, dude, we're in Green Bay, so yeah, we get that.
We're the
Used to
toilet
be a paper cap.
capital of the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's shifted. It's not like printer paper anymore. It's a different kind of paper, and that paper will probably always be needed. So unless we switch to like a total bidet society, which I don't see happening, um, toilet paper will always find its place.
Yep. Max says, I've never paid a dime for paper. Probably have a couple thousand reams in the house. So do you have someone who works in one of the mills? Is that why?
If you have no use for that paper, we'll take as many reams as you want to donate because we'll use it for the goat card show. And any donations we can get just means we can reduce, expenses and raising table fees and doing all that kind of stuff over time. So yeah, if you're not going to use it and you want to try to have it go to a cause that you like, or, a show that you enjoy being at, we would love to take it. I'll even come and pick it up. So, just a thought.
Yep. Yeah, I do get friends who'll bring over just cases and cases of paper towels here too. So I get how he's getting those reams of paper. That makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, one of my best friends growing up, is his mom worked at Fort Howard, and yeah, we would just, whenever I needed stuff at home, she'd be like, just come over, and they had like a whole like freaking storage unit.
Yeah.
Kind of space in the basement. It was just loaded with paper products, and I'd just go and take a big box and I just load it with toilet paper and paper towel and whatever they had that, was in great bulk, and I would bring it home. And heck yeah, I mean, that stuff costs money, so if you can get it for free, why not?
Right. Designated Heckler says, also, I think the billboard on your eBay store is an underutilized tool to share marketing.
Yeah, I agree. The billboard on my store is my banner, right? So it's the dollar box, free shipping, great price cards is kind of what I put on there with my logo and the US dollars in the background. Yeah, I very rarely see anybody who even does anything with that. It's just blank, which is kind of weird. But no, when I went to the background part of my store where it has like, you've completed step 1, you've completed step 2. I went through every single thing and completed all the steps. So there is no, bad space in my store. And for me, it's even more important because when you go to that URL, that is literally what pulls up. So if you have like a blank banner there and, no like avatar picture of your logo and things like that, dude, that's going to be pretty tough to get sales.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to think it's not legit. That's one of the reasons why I went and paid for a professionally done official logo too, because I wanted something where I could get the logo in different formats, and I knew it wasn't like created by AI so somebody else could recreate it really easily. Like, I knew I wanted something that was going to be specifically mine as best I could. I agree.
Right.
I think the banners and all those landing spaces on stores are not done very well. Those are the kinds of things that can separate you out from getting one sale versus somebody else getting a sale.
Yeah, especially in an uber competitive market. As you're going through those search listings, that's right. As you're going through those search listings, I think it is helpful to have something that pops and stands out, is memorable, so you can build up that return business.
And then use that logo everywhere. So like, if you go create a Whatnot shop, use your logo there and call it the same thing. You start doing stuff on Instagram and trying to do trades and sales on there, use that same logo and the same name. Like, you have to carry that branding the best you can everywhere you go. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
like, my username on eBay is not my store name. No one really notices. The customers don't see that part, but it always annoys me. Um, but again, if you have like direct links for them to go to and stuff, it doesn't matter. Because once you have that in eBay, you can't change it.
Yeah.
So that's why I was stuck with it. It was something I created well before I was doing this.
And Max says he just doesn't see a use for business cards in his biz, so it would just be a waste of dollars for him.
Well, then don't buy them. Like, yeah, if you don't see value in it, don't do it. Now, these are just some ideas where I wanted to pitch a few things because I think people go, well, if I'm on eBay, I have to do promoted listings, and that's the only way I can, the only extra thing I can do to try to sell my cards. And I just kind of wanted to share, like, I don't think that's true. There's some other things you can try to do.
Right.
Now, business cards still aren't free, right? So you're going to pay eBay promoted. That's my point earlier with the promoted fees, where it's like having someone get a buyer in front of you just costs money. So whether that's paying per click or buying business cards or sending out flyers or any of that stuff, it's got an expense. It's got a time involved, things like that. So, um, but the business cards, once you have them, and because we're mailing orders and multiple, like lots of orders, because we're doing volume, it's a great tool because of that.
Yeah.
Now, Max, I do see value in business cards for you. If you don't, I completely understand. I wouldn't do them, but you do a great job of traveling to these shows and letting your customers know what inventory you have, and I think the business cards could be a nice little easy tack on to that. So you meet somebody at a show and, oh, I've sold out of this card and I'll have another one and I'll be at the Madison show. Here's my card. You Or, hey, oh, I have a ton of Pokemon that I think you'd be interested in. I didn't bring them with me. Okay, here's my card. Message me later. Like, I just think that there's some advantage in having like a physical item that you can pass, and it looks very professional.
And Max says everybody in the family worked at the paper companies. Everybody sounds like everybody in town did at some point, which
Yeah.
is pretty typical in some of our Wisconsin towns.
Yeah, it was a manufacturing city for a long time, for sure.
Yep. He says, do you think your demos are older? He hasn't used an actual computer in years, so he never sees store landings, etc.
My demos, I don't know what he means.
Well, we were talking about your store page.
Yep.
And you said it's a little different when someone goes to it. So would that apply to just on a computer, or would that apply on a phone as well if you're browsing?
Yeah, well, I mean, it should look the same because you're on a browser either way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, I mean, I can pull it up if you want to see it.
Sure.
I got to open my computer though. I wasn't ready for this tonight. I was going to have you do all the technical stuff. We were going to go back to the old school days. Let's see here. My screensaver on my TV is like scrolling above my computer screen, and it's making me nauseous because it's moving, but I'm not moving. You know what I mean? The Roku fish tank does that to me too. If I watch it for a while on the TV, I start going, "Oh, I'm seasick." All right, so if I go to dollarbox.shop, well, you could pull it up too, I guess. You don't really have to scan the QR to go there. Let's see. I go to StreamYard, join this thing. Enter the studio. Hold on. It's putting me in. Gotta mute myself so we don't get
There it
crazy
is.
here with feedbacks. Yeah.
So on your card, you have your
Did it do that?
paid
Oh,
site,
there I
right?
am. There I am. Huh?
On your card, you have your paid website, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Share screen. It's not a paid website. It's just a host. So that URL just points to my eBay, URL. So, let's see. Huh. Oh yeah, there's the intro. So this is what it looks like. Here I'm going to click off the message for now, just so you can see. So I've got this little intro video. Hi, welcome to the Dollar Box. This is what we do, and I sell cards and blah blah blah. It's got my logo splashed all over it. Some stats. You can see feedback, sales, all that kind of stuff. For featured categories, I simply just used my business logo for them. And the reason I did that is if I ever change them, so like I've got football cards, baseball cards, soccer cards, basketball cards, kind of the normal things you'd have here. I got the Brett Favre category right here, non-sport. But if I ever want to change any of these, I didn't want to have a different image here. So like football cards, right? So if let's say I have a generic picture of a football, and then I change this to, I don't know, Star Wars cards, right? It's still going to have a football there. So that's why I just used my business logo, because no matter what I put here for that featured category section, it will be able to find it. It won't look goofy. It'll match. Newly listed. So this is going to list, all the cards that you just recently scanned and put in, or took photos of and put in. I have, so those are like examples, right? So they're just like the top, the last 10 you added, for example. This section here, I have new sports card listings, shop now. So if you click that, it's literally going to bring up all my listings, but it's going to bring my most recently listed first. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I use the little stadium logo there, just, get some attention and kind of tie it all together. And then this is just simply all items. So it's not your most recently listed stuff. It's stuff that's been listed over time, whatever. And then some search functions there. Now I noticed when I first went here, I don't think it had a like subscribe to this store thing. And it's probably because it's my link. When I found it this morning, it was on a different device. So
Well, you do have the save seller link there in the top right corner of your banner.
I do, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was like a pop-up this morning that said, hey, I noticed you went to this seller. Do you want to save the seller? And there's a little save seller button.
Sure.
So
did you at one time name your store Favre's for Less?
I did, yes.
I see it in the URL still.
Yeah, it's that's why I said some of those things you can't really change. Like that's the URL for my store, so there it is. Another reason why I bought a URL to point to it, because I could use the dollar box then.
Yeah.
So, because when I started selling cards, it was all Favres. That's what I was selling my, that's what I PC'd, and I was buying big lots, and I was just selling the extras basically on that. But here, and that's why people are like, oh, I don't want to do categories. I don't think they matter. I think they matter when people go directly to your store, because I have like my quick category searches here.
Yeah.
So they do get used, on here probably more than anywhere else. So anyway, that's it.
All right. Let's see here. Dan says, "Oh, we got to fix our circles."
No,
here.
we're good. We're good. It pops back up.
I need to convince my kid to do some online presence, so I don't do currently, or that I don't do currently. So.
Yeah, and again, I'm not, none of us are saying like this is what you have to do, but we're just trying to share some of our experience and maybe make some suggestions, and if you get something out of that, great. Even if that's not what I want to do, that has value too. So
Yep.
Hopefully this, everybody felt like this is a worthwhile spending
Endeavor.
of time online with us today. Yeah. Yeah.
Designated Heckler says, I know it isn't difficult, but I always notice the dollar box or JC3 banners under card pictures when reviewing cards on eBay. I have to think that really helps your brand loyalty.
Yeah. Brant, I've said this from day one. One of the, when we first started the show, I'm like, nobody feels like brand matters on eBay. And I think it matters more on eBay than other places because you are in such a mix of other people. How do you stand out? So you got to create logos. You got to have, something you do outside of it. Now, we also promote a card show. I have a YouTube channel. Charlie has a YouTube channel. Charlie does a blog. Like, you have to, businesses that succeed are in, you see them all over the place because it's all about the earworm and the eye worm. Eye worm? That sounds bad. Brain worm. So yeah, I appreciate that feedback that like, well, hey, I see you guys. There's a few times a year where I actually promote my entire store. And I get messages from viewers on this too, because they'll be like, hey, I was searching for these cards on eBay and boom, your store popped up. Like, not even that I had the card, it just promotes like your specific store overall.
Right.
And I wouldn't want to do that regularly. It does get kind of expensive, but I try to do it a couple of times a year just to be like, oh yeah, the dollar box. Oh yeah, the dollar box. And try to keep myself on the tops of heads of people that are looking for cards. And that's kind of the best you can do. You can't control where everybody goes. There's so many places to be and all that kind of thing. And now my focus gets spread out even a little bit more because I want to do more stuff with Whatnot. I'm finding some pretty good success there, and I really like that marketplace now. So I want to try to create some more presence there. I don't know if there's more ads I can do, whatever. Obviously, more live shows. So yeah, the journey continues, and you have to keep working at it. Google's huge. Everybody knows who Google is. Guess what? Google still does commercials. Google still runs ads, right? There's gotta be value in it. Otherwise, why the hell would a company like that need to do anything?
Yeah.
So, McDonald's still does commercials, right? Who doesn't know what McDonald's is? But they do commercials. They have not just advertising campaigns, but they have special little toys that come up. They're doing Monopoly right now. They do promotion. That's promotions, right? They're paying for those. When they give you that free sundae on your little Monopoly ticket, that costs somebody. Somebody had to buy that ice cream. So regardless of how big you are, how known you are, you don't think it applies to you, like, the marketplace just tells you different. The people that keep advertising and keep trying to put themselves in front of you, they're the ones that keep winning.
Yep, that is true. Max, in regards to the business cards, he says, to be honest, he just doesn't want to be bothered during the week. You want his stuff, go see him at a show.
Yeah, I mean, and you can respond to it that way. If somebody messages you, you can say, hey, I'll see you Sunday. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to do if your business works for you the way you're doing it, then just keep doing it that way. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone. You don't do much for, as much online sales. You really like working the shows. And, I do pretty much exclusively online sales. I don't like doing shows. So it's, whatever your prerogative is.
Yep. He asks, if I scan the QR, does it open up in a browser or the app? Well, my experience is if you have the app, it will open up in the app. If you don't have the app, it'll open up in a browser.
That might be why, because when I did it on the device today, it was on an iPad. Yes, I know, an iPad. It was on an iPad, and that's when the pop-up came up. So that might be an app thing too. I don't know.
Could be. Yeah.
I was just I saw it and I was like, oh, that's awesome. It asks for people to subscribe to my store right away. I love that. That's valuable in my eyes. So
I would agree with that. Yeah,
most likely the person scanning this is somebody who bought something from me, right? Because they're getting the card in the mail. So now they scan it and they go, oh yeah, I got to follow this store. You know, I pulled him up to see what else he's got, or I know he's got more Bo Jackson stuff or whatever. But they forget to follow. They forget to subscribe. You know, on YouTube, you can have people who watch every single video you put out and never subscribe. It's crazy, right? Like, why wouldn't you subscribe? But they don't have to. Um, so it's, you know, it's the same with this, but you want those followers in your store because that gives you that carte blanche to send them messages and stuff like that. You're not spamming them then because they
Yeah.
subscribe to you. So you want that. So you can give them promotions, you can send them newsletters, you can, you know, do things so it's not eBay anymore. It's the Dollar Box's store is who they're dealing with.
Yep.
Who happens to sell through the eBay platform.
Right. Gives it that individualized feel to it.
Exactly. And again, if you can get them to go directly to you, you don't have to pay promotion.
Right. That's the grail, right? When we get them coming to us directly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And multi-card orders.
Correct.
Yes.
Which is also easier to get when they go directly to your store. You just saw how easy that was to go and find my cards that I sell. I mean, there's tons of different search functions. There's suggested items. There's what I listed new. Like, that's all right there.
Yeah.
So your best odds of, you know, selling more than what my coupon is advertised on there, right? Buy this many, get this. That's honestly the best place for them to just pile things into a cart and check out.
Yep. Designated Heckler says, whoa, did I just hear the Dollar Box is announcing a Monopoly promotion?
No, that's a pretty good idea though. One of the things that I was really impressed with and I never would have thought of, but it's brilliant, was I'm gonna get his name wrong, but the guy who sells all our Kakawau stuff, and he made the custom scratch off cards.
Mm-hmm.
What a awesome idea.
Yeah.
I've seen some of those come up in my feed now, like order these custom scratch off cards. I thought it was brilliant because he put like specific names of different items you could win, like autographed cards and stuff like that. So very specific to his stuff. And, you know, he's giving some items away, but by chance, right? He could have 50 sales and nobody gets any of that stuff. You know, you just get the scratch off for spending. Great way to do it. You spend so much, you get a scratch off card. Pretty simple, you know, to manage. It's got a whole huge stack of them. So anything that gets scratched off that doesn't get given away, he just brings to the next show. And now those, you know, those are giveaways because they're still under the scratch. I love that stuff. I think that stuff that's the thing that, you know, separates one dealer from another in a lot of ways.
Yep, I agree. The Flippin' Sports guy is here, and he's going to bring us around full circle. He says, unfortunately, with the eBay promotions changes, we may still get charged to go straight to our stores. Yeah, we started the show off tonight on that topic. You probably joined us a little late tonight. I'd encourage you to go back and check that out. We had a pretty robust conversation about that, but you're right. The changes mean there's no guarantee we won't still be charged a promotion if they go straight to our store.
Right, because somebody else might have clicked on that item previously. Yep. But it still gives you the best chance of getting a sale without promotions if they go directly to you. That's still your best odds.
There are very few guarantees in this business anywhere. We talk about this in shipping as well all the time. Like, how do we package our cards to minimize risk? There's no way to completely eliminate it. Right. How do you optimize it for your best chances, right?
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I literally just had a guy, he had 2 different orders and I think there were like 5 cards in each one. So I actually sent them in 2 different envelopes because it was cheaper postage wise and they were 2 separate orders. On the same day. One envelope got delivered, the other one has never shown up. It's like, how's that even possible? They were literally together, went through the same route on the same day. But yeah, an envelope's, you know, this big and this thick and it just slides under something and, you know, you're never going to see it. You know, so yeah. And it very rarely happens, but it's gonna. You're right.
It does, yeah. Well, we're caught up again, and we are past the 2-hour mark. Any other topics you wanted to cover tonight?
No, I think we got in pretty good. There's definitely other ways to advertise. You can post your own ads on different uh websites, things like that. So get creative. We just kind of wanted to talk about marketing and promoting and things like that because it truly is important if you want to grow and you want to compete and you want people to know who you are. You got to put it out there. So find the tools that are going to work for you and you know work with them. If you don't want to, if you're like, I don't want to do any of this, this takes time, this takes money, it takes energy, I don't want to, then just do the eBay promotions
There you go.
and pay eBay and they'll do that work for you. Um, but I've gotten to the point where I'm maxing that out with them. And I'm using some of these other tools so I can start to kind of back off a little bit of having eBay help me and do some more of this on my own.
Yeah.
So, and I know
Yeah,
Charlie's there. Charlie's there too.
you got to have a good mix of it.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
well, all right. I think that's class dismissed for tonight's Dollar Box Live. You've all got your homework. We talked about a lot of different options for promoting your business tonight. So pick what works for you and go promote your business like it's your own rookie card. So I will see you next time. Same box, new deals.
Don't forget 8 o'clock Central Standard Time every Wednesday. We do this live show. If you're watching it recorded, try to join live. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and you'll be notified when we're going live with the show. Just as a friendly reminder. Uh, isn't that like flicking the lighter or?
Give us a like.
Give us a like. Give us a like. Sure, we appreciate all that stuff. Post questions. We'd love to hear from you. And then, of course, that discount
Discord.
Discord link is passing by here, as well as Patreon if you want to contribute to the channel. Join us on Discord. Lots of great discussion there, including this topic. So if you want to get in on it and read some more about it and add some more to it, we encourage you to do so.
Absolutely.
With that, remember, can't sell what you don't list.
Good night, everyone.